Hello everyone, this is GM Sayaviti. Welcome to this video on MongoDB aggregation. In this session, will explore how MongoDB processes, filters, and transform data using aggregation pipelines. If you, First of all, if you are building the dashboards or the analytics or reporting the systems we should need to understand the aggregation is most important things that you need to understand. And the introduction is about aggregation is nothing but it is the process and transform the data that using series of steps. That is all about introduction of aggregation. Let's see about the MongoDB aggregation basics. Let's continue with what is MongoDB aggregation. Here, MongoDB aggregation processes the data to provide meaningful insights by passing documents through multiple stages. Here, MongoDB aggregation is a powerful method that used to analyze or process the data and transforming it. Each stage performs operations like filtering, grouping, sorting, and allows complex queries within one command. Here, instead of writing multiple queries, MongoDB allows you to a single document by using a step-by-step something called aggregation pipeline. It functions like an assembly line where raw data is refined into useful information using MongoDB specific operations such as match and group. Think of it like a factory assembly line. The raw data entries each stage refines it using useful insights comes out at the end. Here, aggregation performs tasks such as filtering data, grouping it, calculating totals, sorting results, and much more, all in a single structured pipeline. And let's see the what is aggregation or understand aggregation pipeline. Here, aggregation pipeline is an ordered arrays of stages, each stage starting with a sign that performs operations on the data, which means an aggregation pipeline is an ordered list of stages. The each stage started with a sign and perform a specific operation. Here, some of the common stages includes match for filtering, group for grouping and calculating, project for selecting fields, and sort for ordering. And here, these approaches helps us to data transform efficiently. Let's see some of the most common stages in the aggregation. The most common aggregation stages are MongoDB aggregation uses several stages to process data efficiently. The match stage filters the documents and similar to the SQL's where class. Here, the match stage is similar to the SQL where class, which means the match stage filters the documents. The group stage aggregates the data by grouping and calculating sums and averages. Here, the group stage is used for grouping and calculating. Others important stages also the project for selecting fields and the sort for ordering results and to restrict output sizes. Here, each stage builds upon the previous one. Here, each stage builds upon the previous one to refine data progressively. Here, the each stage depends upon the previous stage output. Let's see some of the common stages in the aggregation. In this video, we will discuss about the two most important aggregation stages. First one is match and next one is group. Let's see about a two key aggregation stages and examples. The first one is match or filtering the data. The match stage filters documents in the pipeline to include only those that meet specific criteria. It operates like a SQL where class and is often the first stage to optimize query performance. By filtering the data earlierly, the system reduces the workload for the subsequent stages and also enables faster and most efficient aggregation of here filtering or data helps us to reduce the workload on the subsequent stages. For the next stages, the filtering the data reduces the workload and it is also enables faster and most efficient aggregation process. And let's see about the next stage is about grouping and calculations. Here, the group stage groups the documents by a specific key similar to the SQL groups by. It performs calculations like summing values, counting documents, or finding averages and extremes. The ID field determines the grouping key and when set to the null, it aggregates all the documents into a single group, facilitating summary, statistics, and categorized the insights. Here, let's discuss about group. Here, group means grouping and grouping of aggregation. Similar to the SQL group by, it helps us to calculate total sales, average values, maximums and minimums, count of documents, etc. Using ID as a group key, if ID is null, all the documents are grouped together. Here, grouped together. Let's see in the detail. The group stage is used to combine the documents and performs calculations. It works like a SQL group by. Inside and group, the ID, the key that defining grouping. Other fields uses operators like sum, average, max, min, plus, etc. The creates the customer wise summaries. It is dependent on the ID field for grouping. It is also called the grouping key. Next, let's see the combining of match and group. Here, a type, a typical aggregation pipeline used match and group together to filter and summarize the data. For example, filtering the orders with status delivered using match and then grouping by customer ID with group calculates total spending and order counts per customer. This pattern underpins many dashboards and analytics reports by converting the raw data into the actionable insights. Here, a very common and powerful pattern is combining of match and group. Let's take an example. We first filter the data only delivered orders. Here, we need to filter the data only delivered orders using match. And then we want to group by customer ID. Then calculate total spending per customers. This is how real world dashboards and reports are built, such as sales summaries, monthly analytics, or customer insights. Mm. Let's see the real world example. Let's imagine we have an orders of collections. We want to analyze delivered orders and calculating how much each customer spends. Here, MongoDB aggregation allows us to filter the orders using match and then summarize the data using group. This helps business get customer insights, sales report, performance metrics, dashboard data. This is all in one pipeline. Here, let's see why aggregation is important. Here, aggregation pipelines are essential because they reduces aggregation pipelines are in, important because they reduces the need for multiple queries. Here, they reduces the need for the multiple queries, and also they transform data efficiently, and they supports real-time analytics, and they work perfectly for the dashboards and optimizes for the large data sets. It helpful for the large data sets and perfectly for the database. E-commerce apps to finance analytics, every modern applications relies heavily on the aggregation. Let's see the conclusion. MongoDB aggregation pipelines provides a robust framework for transforming and analyzing data efficiently. Using stages like match for filtering and group for aggregation, user can generate detailed report and dashboards. These methods streamlines data processing workflow, making it an essential tool for business intelligence and decision making applications. Here, to summarize, MongoDB aggregation processes the data through a pipeline. Here, match filters the data, group calculates totals, averages, count, and many more. Here, combining them allows the creation of powerful analytics and dashboards. MongoDB aggregation is one of the strongest features for handling the complex data processing. Here, the MongoDB is very useful for handling the large data insights and perfectly useful for the dashboards, and it is also supports the real-time analytics. Here, thanking you for watching this video on MongoDB aggregation. If you have any queries, feel free to ask.